Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about Stranger Things 2. Episode 1 is called Madmax. I had to really think about that because I usually say season something. I had to really think about just saying
Yes,
2.
yes. There's a slight hesitation.
But Stranger Things 2, because that's what they're calling it.
You'll get there by the end of the week.
Oh yeah, by episode 9, the finale, yeah, I'm sure I'll have sussed it by then. That'll be the only one I nail. First 8
Yeah.
leading up to that, but it's all for that final one. Oh, I hit it, I knocked it out of the park, one time. So, full spoilers for the episode as always. Of course, we'll probably drop spoilers for last season as usual, because it's a TV show, that's how it works. I do appreciate Netflix putting in a nice recap video. It was a good few minutes long just to bring you up to speed.
Chart was really annoying. I could have really done with it, but I had to back out because of
You skipped it accidentally.
see yeah. So I went on Netflix. I clicked on the episode because I think at some point I'd gone back to check something in an old episode, so it had me on the wrong one.
Right, okay.
So I clicked on it to get set up, and then thought, right, okay, I'll go, be back in a couple of minutes. Go get a drink, get something to eat. And then I came back in, clicked on it again, and it didn't give me the option for the recap. I was like, damn.
Yeah. Honestly, there was nothing in the recap that I would have struggled with. It was all pretty memorable
See,
things, but
after I watched it, I was like, okay, I never needed that. I didn't feel like I
yeah,
needed it at least, but
it was nice.
I got it because it's been
Yeah,
so long. It's just like I feel like I could have done with a refresher, but now I'm not so sure I needed it.
it was nice. Honestly, I was wanting to rewatch season 1 before this started. It was just October being what it
Yeah,
was in
yeah.
terms of.
I wanted to rewatch it too, but no.
Listen, Mr. Robot, I wanted to rewatch the previous seasons before the new ones, and there was no chance in hell of it ever happening because of everything else we had going on this month. But hey, so this is arguably, I think this and Mr. Robot were the two sort of events of the fall season that we were really excited about.
Yeah, it's because obviously last year they were the standout summer
Yeah,
stuff.
they were both summer last year, and this year we had to wait until October for both of them. And obviously, Mr. Robot's week to week, so that's like we're getting that for a couple of months, so we get to enjoy that drawn out. This, of course, being a Netflix show, we get hit on one day right before Halloween, and we're going to go one per day until we're done, more or less, assuming we stay on target the whole time. But I'm pretty determined to do it with this show, so we'll see what we can do. But yeah, so this is chapter 1. As I said, the title's Mad Max, which, by the way, if we're making 80s references and stuff, yeah, you've got me on the right foot. Now, before someone corrects me, I am well aware that the first Mad Max movie was before the 80s, right? Just before anyone gives me shit. But The Road Warrior, which is the one that everyone really knows about from that time period, was in the 80s.
I think
So,
just that the franchise as a whole is associated with the 80s.
which is funny because only one movie in the franchise is in the 80s.
It is, but I think it all feels pretty 80s. Like even that first one,
Mm.
it feels like it's going towards the 80s.
Yeah, but it was on the cusp.
Yeah,
It was close to. The third one was in the 90s though, and then obviously Fury Road was, just last week, more or less.
yes.
Feels like it anyway. Point being, it's a modern movie. So, but anyway, so if I was to sum up this first episode before we dive really deep into it, it would be season 1 started off running because I had to hook us. I had to be like disappearing kid and stuff's going on and here's all the characters. I think it's season 2, and obviously there's one extra episode this year. I feel like the extra episode was at the start and not the
I
rest of it.
agree. It's like we've already got you. We don't need to have a big, massive event.
Yeah, this episode was like, hey, all those characters you loved last season, here's where they all are now. Let's catch up with all of them. There's like obviously there's some hints to what's to come. There's some teases
Yeah,
at the end, and
but
there's
we haven't really started.
yeah, this was very much let's get back up to speed with all the characters, see how they're all doing, and in that sense, it really felt like obviously they're calling it Stranger Things too. It genuinely kind of feels like a sequel movie almost the way it comes back in, and it's like, oh, here's how Nancy and Steve are doing. Here's what Jonathan's up
It
to.
does. It feels like the opening 20 minutes of a
Yeah.
movie that's a sequel.
The first thing I want to talk about, and I don't know if I should start with this because I might upset some people.
I know where you're going with this, and thankfully I'm on your side.
Right, now I want to say before I actually say this, I don't actually have a problem with it. I actually think what they did with it was actually quite smart, and for Nancy's character, I think it's going to do some interesting things. But I do have to say, I really felt the external forces at work Because there's a whole bit in this first episode, this scene where Nancy brings Steve to Barb's parents' house. But we're talking about Barb for some reason. We're talking about Barb in season 2 of Stranger Things, and all I could feel was, yeah, that hashtag is why this is here. Because there was so much fuss about her, that is why we're doing this.
I think they're kind of justifying it.
They are.
But it
No, they
annoys
are.
me at the same time that it has had that much influence.
Yeah, it's like, I actually think what they did with it is fine, and I love that. It's actually a really interesting dilemma for Nancy. These parents want to find their daughter. They've hired a private investigator, so much so that they're selling their house to afford to be able to keep paying them. And she knows they're never going to find her. She knows where she is. She knows she's definitely dead. And, you know, I think that's actually really fascinating. And her crying in the bathroom was great. It was like I was like, oh, this is actually, they're actually doing something really cool with this. But I couldn't help but feel they wrote this in because of the hubbub.
Just to shut the internet up.
Yeah, you know, justice for Barb, all that nonsense. She had a purpose. Her purpose was to sell the danger. That's why she was there. That's why she was killed.
I honestly don't understand what the big appeal of Barb is. I don't get it. I never have.
It's Boba Fett. She's Boba Fett of Stranger Things.
Yeah, but Boba Fett at least looks cool. Looks badass.
He served less of a purpose than Barb did, though. Barb actually had more purpose.
Oh, I'm not disputing that. I'm not disputing that, but people like Boba Fett because he has a cool look, and you know,
Maybe
there's
people
something
think Barb
there.
has a cool look.
She looks the same as everyone else. It's the 80s.
Yeah, but she's got a very specific sort of dweeby. She's the good girl look, and yeah, it's the whole thing. But anyway, so I think what they're doing with it's actually fine. But I did sort of like, yeah, why is this here? Mm-hmm. Yeah, very good. No, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reading into that a little bit because you know when that was going on after the show hit last year and everyone was going justice for Barb, I was like, but why? That was the point of her character was to die and sell the threat. That's fine. That was her purpose.
I think we're just cynics, aren't we? We see this and go, this wasn't a creative choice to do this. This was, oh, we better put something in just so that we can shut them up.
Now, don't get me wrong, I can see it leading to great things. I can see there being like a great moment towards the end of the season for Nancy where she like has to tell the parents and come out with it and say, look, here's
that's
the
the thing.
truth.
I can see them having gone, okay, we've got to do this, but we can at least do it well. And they've earned the faith that I can trust them to have done it well.
Yeah, even this opening part was good, like of this storyline. So yeah, like I actually have zero complaints about it in the show itself, but I just I did chuckle to myself and went, yeah, justice for Barb, yeah, whatever, let's move on. So yeah, it's like comparing it to like as someone who's watched a lot of slasher movies, like if I actually
too many slasher movies,
possibly too many, but the reason why I'm bringing that up is I'm just thinking like. Yeah, just imagine the same shitstorm if everyone like gave a like a fuss every why did this character I like die? Well, because it's a slasher movie, people have to die. Most of them die. That's the point.
It does really feel like that. She is the slasher's first victim.
Yeah. Now, admittedly, in Stranger Things, you could argue, well, not a lot of other big characters get killed after that. Why is she in it? Well, because there still has to be one to sell the threat. It has to happen.
That's it. It's about stakes.
It's about stakes. She sold the stakes, and never put down a stake seller. They're important parts of society. We all need our stakes.
And they can stab you, so.
Yeah, because they cut up the stakes. We've turned that into a
I was
metaphor.
thinking stakes as in, vampires.
Oh, right, okay. I
was spelling it the same as this stakes. I wasn't being clever enough to sound the same, but change the spelling.
All right, okay. Right. See, I was then compared to someone who sells, like a butcher.
Also essential.
Yeah, that was what I was joking that was essential to society.
Knives, so.
And they have knives, which is why it was still working in my head.
I see why it was working.
Yeah, okay, right. So with that said, we can actually get into the rest of the main.
Let's do this for real now.
Yeah. So we all had this prologue scene with this gang, this 80s punk gang. One of them's got a mohawk, and they're all looking kind of punk, and they're driving a van off after they take off their masks. They've stole something, I think. It's just not very clear.
Like a robbery, yeah.
Yeah. And the police are chasing them, and I'm like, the whole time I was like, one of these people. Well, the whole time I was like, one of these people, one of this group, one of them's got a power like 11. I was calling it.
I'm looking at it going,
second.
So when's this getting Stranger Thingsy?
Yeah, I was going.
When's
exactly.
Going to get weird?
I mean, I would put it short into just that when's this going to get strange? Like something strange has to happen. It's not just the heist. There's something more to this.
Yeah, exactly.
And sure enough, the girl in the front seat, we find out, or she's got a number 8 on her, kind of like how 11's got 11 on her. And she's like, boom, and you see like the bridge, or the tunnel she's got into it collapsing, and the cops all like, ram into it, or one cop at the front rams, and all of them ram into the cop at the front. And then they're like, why did you stop? What the hell are you doing, you idiot? And I'm like, oh, it was just an illusion. It's only him that saw that. And then you see the tunnel, and it's like all fine. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that was real clever.
Yeah, because it links it more to 11 as well, because it's still psychic-esque powers. It's not the exact same, but it's it's still head related, rather than like actual physical doing things.
Yeah, it's not actually affecting the world; it's affecting people's brains.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose arguably 11 is affecting the world because she moves things around, but it's still her head that's doing it.
Yeah.
So so pretty cool, and that's what kind of sets us off. And so obviously there's no more of that in this episode. I expect we'll run into them as time goes on. So where do we begin? I guess we begin with the kids because they're the centerpiece of the whole show.
So yeah, that's what the show is.
Yeah. Seeing them all kind of like walkie-talkie each other, and they're all collecting money to go to the arcade, and the music's kicking in, and all riding their bikes. Except Will, Joyce takes him to the door of the arcade in the car. It's like, right, I'm coming up in 2 hours. And then you don't walk home, you don't ride home. It's like, oh, okay, she's being super protective. That makes sense.
You can already see where this season's going for him is the sense of getting freedom back to join his friends.
Yeah, you can see that's kind of going to be his arc for the show. And they go in, and they're trying to play Dragon Quest, basically the first ever QTE game in the arcades in the 80s, where it's just a cartoon, but if you don't press the buttons, you get the skeleton death.
Pretty much.
They're like, this is shit. But at least we still have our high score in Dig Dog. But dear.
Aye, that's essential.
Sure, I'm not disputing that. But then this loser's like, I wouldn't be so sure about that. It's like, what? And they run over to the Dig Dog machine, and someone who's put in the name Madmax has taken over the score by about 150,000. And they're livid. They're like, who's Max? And like, is it you? He's like, no, it's not me. But maybe I've got information. It's like, oh, tell us your information. And he's like, I want something in return. And I like that they all just immediately assume that what it is that Mike's going to get Nancy to go on a date with them. Like she would agree to that. Like he can come home, especially since we just saw him steal all the money from her piggy bank. Like that was the scene. She chased him out onto the street, trying to get her money back.
Yeah.
And he's like,
it goes so well.
Now, to be fair, he actually says out loud, "I'm not prostituting my sister." So he's got morals. I'll give Mike that.
Yeah.
He's not a complete little dweeb. But the idea that Lucas and Dustin are like, yeah, she'll go for it. Yeah, just do it.
Yeah. It was around this point where I kind of remembered just how natural they write the kids. When they're playing the game and he's losing, he goes, "Oh shit!" And he's just gonna bollocks, and it's exactly how you are when you play a game and you're losing. Especially at age.
I'm fairly certain he didn't say bollocks.
Whatever he said, it was those sorts of things.
Yeah, but yeah. Now, did you see it?
No.
No. Well, fair enough. Mike's in. He's one of the kids in that movie.
I knew that. Yeah.
But that was very similar in the sense that the kids were all swearing, even more so than this. Like they were going really far. They were like talking about having sex with each other's mothers and things. And it was, but it felt really natural because let's be honest, kids this age talk like that. They swear.
Right. Exactly. I think a lot of movies and TV kind of shies away from it. But then when you see it, it's like, yeah, I was like that. That's how I am. That's how I was when I was playing.
Yeah, was not. You're not 12 anymore.
Yeah, no. Look, it's been a long day.
Yeah. If you are 12, that chin curtain you've got going on there's a real freak of nature.
Mighty impressive, isn't it?
So they're pissed about this. This is a very fun scene. But during all this, Will starts to sort of zone out. Obviously, we had that scene at the end of last season where he sees the bug that comes out of his mouth. But here, like everything goes quiet and dark, and it's almost like he's entered the Upside Down. But he's still in the arcade. You can still see the screens in the background, but you can't see anyone. And he goes outside and he sees the clouds, and it's all kind of post-apocalyptic looking.
I love the spinning arcade sign. Looks horrific.
Yeah, it looked real cool. And then Mike comes out and sort of wakes him up out of it. And he's like, "Hey, you okay? Yeah, let's go and get our high score back." And it's just that's kind of the way it ends. Actually, if I have a complaint, not about the episode, but about the marketing, is that I do think because at the end of the episode we see the properties where he zones out again and he walks outside and he sees the big tentacles in the cloud. Yeah. And if I have a complaint, and it's not about the episode itself, it's just that I feel like that would have been a fantastic tease that would have had me so pumped for the rest of the season if I hadn't saw it in every single trailer in the last year.
I get it, but at the same time, I'm going, well, if they were selling the season, because that was the image that was selling the season.
Oh,
If
sure,
they were
yeah.
selling it on episode 1, and they weren't taking
Uh,
anything from further on for those big shots, then I've still got so much to experience.
Yeah, that is actually a completely fair point. It's just that going into season 1, I think I had seen a trailer, but I still feel like I knew nothing going into season 1. Whereas this season, I did have that image. So it did kind of, especially since this episode, as we said, was mostly just reconnecting with all the characters, that the one big hook at the end. Well, not the one big
No.
hook. There's another little hook after that, but the big monster hook at the end,
Yeah.
we'd already seen. So it was like, okay, that's cool, and I loved it when I first saw it in the trailer. But now I'm like, okay, I've seen it already, so it's fine.
No, I get you. But like I said, I think they've got to pick something, and I'd rather have it in the first episode than me going the whole
True.
time going, when's this going to happen? I'm waiting for these things.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's completely fair. So no, and we see Mike's in a pretty bad place. His parents are giving him shit because he's doing really poorly in school. He's getting into a lot of trouble. He's talking back. He's argumentative, and we know deep down he's just really missing his girlfriend. I mean, that's what's happening.
Kind of looks like he's just being a teenager, though, doesn't it?
Kind of, yeah. But it's like they keep saying, "Why are you on this frequency?" Because they're using the walkie-talkies, and he keeps going on to the frequency that he thinks Eleven might pick up on. And at one point, he thinks he hears her voice. I mean, it is her voice, but it's debatable if it's just what he thinks he hears, and it's actually the guy saying, "Oh, hey, why are you on this channel again?" But he hears her voice, and he's so we see that he's like that. He's definitely still kind of hung up on it. He's been feeling kind of empty as a result.
Yeah.
So that's where Mike is. Dustin and Lucas fighting over who we're just about to talk to now, that being Max, who is our new character, who, of course, as soon as this girl's introduced, which, by the way, has this badass introduction. What was the song that was playing as the car came in?
Oh God, I'm singing it. I can't.
80s metal.
It was, yeah. Rocky Like a Hurricane.
There you go. With our really sleazy-looking big brother that all the high school girls, for some reason, are all really into.
Yeah.
I thought he looked like he needed a shower, but, my
Hey,
tastes are
it's the
different.
80s, man.
Yeah, my tastes are different. I accept that. But so it's okay. Little Ginger, Connor's got someone to root for,
You know.
and she's on a skateboard, which is cool. I like kids in 80s stuff having skateboards. I'm all for it.
It's always a pro.
But then the teacher that we knew from last season, to get the head of the audiovisual club, he introduces her. He's like, he's very enthusiastic. Oh no, welcoming on our journey. We have Maxine. He's like, no, Max. And do you know what's funny? It took me a second to piece together the Madmax thing. I thought the guys were all just staring at her because they thought she was cute, and I'm like, oh no, it's because she's Max. Yeah, she took the high score. God damn it. I thought they were just being really
slow.
creepy. I know. I was having a moment, but
That said, I would have bought it if they were just being really creepy. Because again, teenagers.
oh yeah, sure. Because if they're not being creepy here, they're being creepy in the next scene when they're out in the it's this recess.
Yeah.
If do you still call it that when you're in junior high school?
Lunch break.
Break, whatever it is, they're outside, and they're just sort of looking through the fence, and they're kind of staring at her from a distance and talking about her. Do you think it's her? Yeah, I bet it's her. Oh, she's fascinating, isn't she? Oh, she is. Oh, by the way, my favourite new thing this season is Dustin's how can she resist this? I can't do it. I was going to try and do it. I can't do it. But he does a purr thing.
Yeah.
I almost went for it, and then I realised I'm not going to make a sound that's anything remotely like he was doing.
I really want to hear what you were going to do.
No, it's not happening. But that was cracking me up, especially when he kept doing it, and then Lucas is like, "Hey, would you stop doing that? It's freaking me out." But she's on to them. She's a smart kid. She's hip. She's happening. She leaves a note in the trash for them to find that says "Stop watching me, creeps." And they are being kind of creepy. They're staring at her, and they go as far that they stake out the arcade place to see if she shows up, so they can witness her.
I'm pretty sure they know they're being creepy, but they're like, I don't care.
Yeah. I think it's that 12, 13-year-old logic. You're just like, this isn't good.
It's like cusp of puberty where it's like, I don't care.
Whatever. I mean, hell, Lucas has got binoculars, and Dustin even points out, I can see her from here. What do you need those for?
Yeah. Oh man, kid banter is excellent.
Oh no, it is. I'm liking that even we can split off two of them as well, and have different pairs now and doing different things. But they see her playing Dig Dug, and they're all impressed by what's going on. So
understandably so.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. So I am excited to see how she integrates with the group throughout the season. We haven't really even heard her speak yet, really, other than the teacher.
One line.
Yeah.
When she said, "No, I'm Max."
But I'm really curious to see how she integrates with the group, and how having her and 11 will shake things up and keep that going. So, yeah. So going back to Will, because we see him get taken out of school, and he gets taken to the lab. It's the same lab from the first season, and at least seemingly on the surface, it's not evil right away.
Oh, it's got to have a front.
Yeah, yeah. And Paul Reiser, who's nice to see, he of course, obviously my main jumps to Aliens right away because he's in that. But he obviously big famous in the 90s with Mad About You sitcom and all the rest of it. It's nice to see him. I think between having him and Sean Astin, both, and obviously Sean Astin known largely for the Goonies. I know your millennials will all be like, oh, but he's a Hobbit in Lord of the Rings. I don't care. The Goonies is more important.
I'll accept in this context the Goonies is more relevant.
There's definitely more relevant.
But I will say more people will recognise him for Lord of the Rings.
And that's why society's crumbling.
I can't take you seriously sometimes.
12 hours of boring walking to Mount Doom, or whatever it was called. Was it Mount Doom?
It was. Three of the greatest movies of the decade. Thank you very much.
Nah, The Room came out that decade. That's nonsense.
I was waiting for you to hit back with something, but
you weren't expecting that.
I wasn't.
But so it's nice having them because they're both kind of like staples of 80s movies. You got Aliens and you got the Goonies, both things that I love. Which, by the way, the local theatre was playing The Terminator, and it is set in 1984. Perfect.
It is, yep.
Perfect. And you see Joyce like stitching up the Halloween costume. She's stitching up
I want the kids to sneak in.
Ghostbusters uniform. Yeah, yeah. In fact, I hope that just at one point, Dustin or someone like says to someone, "Come with me if you want to live," and I can just be like, "Yeah, they saw it already. They saw it."
Yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, that'll work for me. But yeah, so they go, and it's basically actually I thought he was keeping all of his little like visions a secret, but it turns out no, he's been telling his mother about them, and he goes to the doctor and he tells Paul Reiser like all what's happening. And he gets very disturbing because he's like, oh, I feel this evil. And he's like, oh, what does the evil feel like? What's it saying? He's like it wants to kill. Wants to kill you? No, not me. Everyone else. And I'm like, okay, the kid might be going psychotic. That's maybe...
I thought it was really interesting that it said everyone else, not just everyone. Like, almost like it implies he's safe.
Yeah. Like, he's a conduit for it. Like, because he whatever they did to him when he was over there in the Upside Down, it's like created a bridge.
Yeah, it wants to do it through him.
Yeah, that makes some sense. Yeah, very good. That's very specific phrasing because it wasn't just everyone; it was everyone else. That's very good point. Yeah, and he Doctor kind of assures Joyce, and I like that Hopper showed up for this. Like he's concerned, like he's got a stake in this. Like he wants to make sure the kid's okay and keep track of this stuff. He shows up to help, and Doctor basically just says, "Yeah, the best you can do is don't try and force him to talk. Just kind of act like things are normal. It's going to get worse before it gets better." And he tries to give this, and Hopper's like at least somewhat familiar with PTSD. He brings it up and whatnot. So, but yeah, so it's just kind of setting the stage, it's showing you where we are. Joyce has got a boyfriend. We mentioned Sean Astin. He's like her love interest.
Comes across as a little bit of a dick.
He's a bit of a dweeb who doesn't like horror movies, but he does like cameras. He thinks he's of the future.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be right about something.
Yeah. It's always funny watching these period pieces though, and they're really impressed with this like chunky video camera.
Yeah. It's just funny.
It's just a little bit funny. I mean, they can overdo it, but I think this episode in particular, they get away with doing a lot more of this stuff because I feel like this is the one where we get a lot of references. We had the arcade games, we had the different things. I think we got a lot of that in this one because it was the one where it was just like, oh, we're not really getting into the plot too meaty yet. Where it's not distracting us from other things.
We'll get all the references out of the way at once.
Yeah, we'll set the 80s stage, 1984, do all this stuff, just about to be Halloween, but we're not going to.
Yeah, like you had like the election poster and stuff, just to set the scene. Yeah,
exactly, and yeah. So in terms of other stuff, obviously, just to go back to Nancy for a second. She's still she's still friends with Jonathan, and they seem in pretty good terms. Although you still get that little bit of love triangle tension as Steve jumps out. Steve's not a complete dick anymore. He kind of redeemed himself by the end of the season last year, which was nice because at least get into this season. it creates a more interesting dynamic between the love triangle, because it's like, well, he's not just the evil asshole. As much as I liked that, because it was kind of an 80s trope at first, now
He gets to do something different now.
yeah, it's a bit more complicated than that now, and he's trying to like consider staying home and not going off to college because he thinks he's not good enough.
Yeah.
And
I mean, I will say, I think I mentioned it last year, but he looks like someone I know, and it's someone that I don't like. He's like this pretentious knob.
Okay.
So even though I'm like, I know he was redeemed, I still kind of hate him.
Okay, he's trying his best. Which, oh, by the way, reminds me, one of the biggest laughs I gave out this entire episode was when they go to the dinner with Barb's parents, and the mum didn't have time to cook, so she just got KFC in. And it's when Nancy goes to the bathroom, and he's so awkward and doesn't know what to say that he just sort of like pauses for a second and goes, "His finger looking good."
Right.
And do you know what I love? It's like sometimes that would make me cringe because they're trying to get the slogan of the company into it, and whether it's actual product placement or it's not, it probably is, but they're using it in a fun way. This felt so natural. It's because he didn't know what to say, so that's what he jumped to. It was the slogan for the thing he was eating. Like it felt right.
It's the type of product placement I love, where it's like, have fun with it. Don't just shove me the product in my face. Do something clever.
Especially since there's a negative tangent to it. It's like, oh, I couldn't make you a proper home-cooked meal, so here's some KFC. It's almost got a negative tinge to the whole thing anyway.
It has. But it's almost like KFC's always to the rescue.
Yeah, okay, I can see that. Yeah. And Steve does say he loves KFC. And then quotes them.
KFC's pretty good, to be fair.
That's alright, I like KFC. I like the gravy more than anything. I like dipping the popcorn chicken in the gravy.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. Not the boneless bits. I'm not a big fan of the bone chicken. I like the boneless. I don't know. I'm just dodging the bone and biting around it. I like a nice, just clean, boneless bit of chicken too.
Fair. Doesn't bother me. It's just chicken in it.
Throw in the mouth. Yeah. True.
Well, I mean, just this is bones. It's like, well, yeah. If I do chicken at home, it's gotta have bones.
Oh no, sure. It will obviously, but it's when I go to KFC, I always go with the boneless options. Plenty of fries to dip in the gravy. Always the gravy. These people get the sweet corn with everything. No, get the gravy.
I usually get the gravy as well. The coleslaw's pretty nice too.
Yeah, come on. Not a coleslaw guy.
Yeah, fair enough.
Anyway, we're on a tangent about KFC.
See, product placement works, folks.
Apparently it does. We just spent a minute talking about what we like from KFC. Anyway, although their milkshake things are awful. Just one last point.
If I want a milkshake like that, I'll go to McDonald's. I
tried one once just to see, because you try it, and yeah. No, I really took 2 sips of it.
I think every KFC I know is like across the road from a McDonald's. So if I want a milkshake, I'll just go to the McDonald's.
They move in packs.
They do.
They move in packs. Anyway, so we had that. So that was kind of the thing, and then obviously we go over to Hopper, and we have what's going on with him, which is kind of a few things that are definitely leading to things. One, we have this nut job who's coming in, and he's got all these crazy theories about Russians or about aliens showing up in the town, and he mentions a girl who could, move things with her mind, and the incident with the doors smashing and all that.
Yeah.
Although it sounds like he's talking about incidents that have been happening more recently, which is obviously a tease.
Does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tease for what we get later on in the episode. Be like, oh, that's interesting. But obviously, we know the guy's not complete. I mean, even he sounds like a crazy lunatic, but we know he's not completely crazy.
Yeah, and Hopper knows better too.
I mean, he's jumping to wild theories about it. He's like, oh, it's aliens and there's Russian spies.
I love the Russian thing. It's so okay. It's the 80s.
Yeah, it's of its time. So you got that. Also, I like that the woman who works at the police station is trying to single-handedly make Hopper more healthy, and he's stealing the donut out of his hand. And
never take away a man's donut. Just don't do it.
I enjoyed that. So yeah, so he also gets a call about a pumpkin patch, which again, just getting us in the Halloween spooky mood. This guy's pumpkin patch has been all poisoned. All the pumpkins are rotten and have got bugs in them and all that. Which is complete with an ending where he goes into the field and he runs into a scarecrow that's got a pumpkin head.
Yes, and he nearly shoots the crow.
Again, this is all very just building the scene, texture, atmospheric stuff. It's Halloween and scarecrows and pumpkins.
They can get away with it for so long. You can do an episode, maybe 2 at a push. but more than that, and you'll be like, okay, you got to start giving me some more now.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not worried about that. I'm pretty
No,
sure
me either.
episode 2 is going to be pretty running out, I imagine.
Yeah,
If nothing else, just integrating Max more into the group and stuff like that from a character perspective, I think
oh yeah,
we'll be
definitely.
solid on. So you've got that, and you've got all the other stuff with them, going with Joyce and the rest of it. But eventually, he comes home, and he goes home to this like cabin almost in the middle of the woods. And there's like a tripwire that he goes over, and he's doing all these things, and he goes up to the door, and he gives it like a specific knock. It's like a right.
Yeah,
It was 213. That was the rhythm. And it's like, all right, like I'm pretty sure I know who's in this cabin, but they're really
they're
stretching
really
it out.
teasing it, aren't
Yeah, it does this 360 shot once you get inside, where it shows you the entire cabin, and it eventually goes all the way around to just behind where the door was, and you finally like he's like, oh, we talked about this, and you see the plate with the half-eaten waffle.
they? Yeah,
And it's like, oh my. And he sits down and there's two like plates out, and she eventually comes out, and it's Sullivan. And not only has he been helping feeding her, because I like that this actually builds on what we saw at the end of the last season, because we saw him go and put the food in the box for her,
yeah,
implying that she sort of came out of the upside down to get it and maybe went back. But over this time, she's actually come out and she's now living permanently, and he's looking after her in this cabin. And they sit down and have dinner. We end with them eating their TV dinners at the table. So our big hook at the end is basically, Eleven's out, she's here. It's like,
yeah. And this is one of the things again, like they had to do it sooner rather than later because we know it's going to happen. So
yeah.
just get it over and done with, so that we don't build to it too much and pretend it's a big surprise to anyone, because it's not.
Yeah,
Just do it, and then we can move on from there and have the real drama from now.
absolutely, and I think that's important. So the other things we had, other little tidbits. So Paul Razor seemed a bit suspicious at the end of their because he's like sort of standing there watching, and he sort of gives him a friendly wave, and then we see that they're still doing things with the entrance, like it's still there, and they've got a guy with a flamethrower, and we don't see anything actually evil necessarily. I mean, we see there's some mysterious figures watching the Will interview through a mirror,
but you just don't trust them, do you?
yeah, no, I don't. It feels seedy as shit. But at least as of yet, it's just implied. There's no actual evil doing on screen as of yet.
It's only a matter of time.
It is a matter of time. I don't trust them, especially anyone who sits in an interview, or not an interview, but like in a scene with the other characters, across from my desk and says, "I'm on your side here, guys." No, you're probably not. If you have to say that, you're probably not.
I really hope they're actually Russians.
Just so that guy's right.
I think it'd be so amazing if it just turns out there's actual like a Russian conspiracy.
Do you know what? I am all for that idea. I really, really am.
See, it sounds stupid at first, but the thing about it, it's like, oh, that could be fun.
I hope it's Russians, and I hope the Upside Down's actually an alien planet.
Yes.
And it's aliens and Russians. It's all coming together, and this guy's everything. I hope everything that guy said in that scene actually turns out to be 100% accurate.
Yeah. It was just foreshadowing for the audience. That's all that was. Everything he said was like, hey, okay, here you go. Here's the plot for the year.
I hope that's the case, because that would be spectacular.
Yeah.
No, I enjoyed being back in the town. I enjoyed being back in Hawkins and meeting all the characters again. Like, everything about it felt like the introduction of a sequel, where it's like, okay, here's Hopper now, and he's back at back in the sheriff's station. What's going on, and here's Nancy and Steve and what they're up to, and here's what the kids are up to, and there's a new character who's going to shake things up. Like, everything about it felt like the start of a sequel, where it's like, okay, here's all the elements you know. Here's the return of some things you're expecting. Here's a tease for what the villain's going to be, and here's like a new character or two to shake things up. Like it felt like all of that.
Pretty much. It's if you boil it down to that, and it sounds like a checkbox, but it does do it all very well.
It does it very well, but I think, and obviously the music's very good throughout. I love the music in this show so much.
So good. I'm listening to it right now.
And I think the reason why it works though, and why you get away with it at the start of this season, is because it's been over a year since season 1. We all want to see these characters again. It's like, yeah, we don't want to rush into like the threat just yet. We actually want to spend some time with these characters just being themselves. Obviously there's a little tease, and there needs to be a little tease just to keep us...
Yeah, it's something that we always talk about. The downtime is incredibly important. Like, it's great having all the big events, fight the world, fight the monster, save the world. It's like, that's great. But without the characters to back it up, it's kind of meaningless. Unless, like I say, we needed that time, because there has been an actual time jump as well in the show, as well as for us. So you need that time just to reestablish where everything is. Kind of go, okay, this is where we are now before we can do any new drama.
It's something that we've in comics we talk about, especially with like Justice League, for example, which we complained a lot in the last year, where it felt like there was never any downtime. It was just constantly big event after big thing, where the world was at stake. And it was like, give me some issues in between where they're sitting around, and what's the downtime like? Because it adds a lot to the story to do a healthy dose of it. And I feel like this episode was just mostly that, and that's fine because it.
Definitely.
I felt like coming home. I put out a tweet saying watching Stranger Things again felt like putting on a warm blanket. It was just like, oh, I'm coming home, right? I'm here. It's good. Let's do this. Yeah. So
just as it's starting to get a bit colder as well.
As it is, yes, that is very true. Although I'm quite warm right now because
me too, actually.
The house heats up quite easily.
It's not actually that cold today, but just typically, it's been getting colder.
So, I enjoyed coming back to Stranger Things a lot with this episode, and I am I'll tell you this: the strength it took when this episode finished not to go straight into episode 2 was monumental.
I was half expecting to come home from work and you be like, "Yeah, I'm halfway through the season."
I'll just say the will it took. No pun intended. I know the character name well. I'm really not hitting it.
And he got took.
the will it took to not go into episode 2, like, I'm pretty sure there's people who have like cracked like major physics breakthroughs that have had less personal inner strength than me at this point, right? I'm not saying I deserve a Nobel Prize, but I could be thought of.
Appreciated, is that it?
Yeah, I could be thought of in the process. A nomination would be nice. But with that said, so we'll be back tomorrow with episode 2 of Stranger Things, or chapter 2, I should say. Actually, I think I actually did technically give you the incorrect title at the start, because I don't think I said chapter 1, because it's chapter 1 Madmax. I think I just said Madmax. So apologies for that.
You're a bloody disgrace.
I know, how dare I not say chapter 1?
Exactly. How dare you?
Oh man, I will say I do. I just want to point out I really like Mike's stuff in this episode, just from the sense that he feels genuinely quite sad. There's like a sort of like he's trying to put on a brave face for his friends, and he's being nice to Will. He seems really concerned about him, but when he's on his own and he's trying the walkie-talkie, and he's packing up some toys because his mum's making him donate them to charity.
Yeah, even that very first time you see, where they're all on the walkie-talkies, they're going, right, how much have you got? And he's like, oh shit, I forgot. He hadn't even crossed his mind to do what he was supposed to with all his friends. He was so wrapped up in his thoughts.
Yeah, it's just his head's just not in there. Oh, and by the way, Dustin's got something scary in his garbage bins.
Yeah,
because that's a little scary when he thinks it's his mum's cat and it's not quite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd forgotten about that, which is weird.
Yeah, just a little thing. It
was quite a quick moment, really.
Yeah, just a little simple thing. Also, Max and her big brother seem to not get along very well, just judging from one scene before she's in the arcade. They're shouting at each other.
It's another classic staple of 80s movies.
Yeah. I wonder how much this big brother's going to play into things, if much at all.
He's the new Steve.
He kind of is. He's probably the asshole, and we'll see how that plays out. Also, I want to come back to Bob's Sean Astin's new character's name. He doesn't like horror movies, and he's excited about watching Mr. Mum, and like they're all watching Mr. Mum. Like it's Will, Jonathan, and Joyce with him. It's movie night, and he's laughing hysterically at every single joke, and the rest of them are just kind of like, yeah, I guess it's okay.
The rest of them are normal people.
Yeah, he thinks it's hilarious. Man, this guy's a loser. Like, well, come on, Joyce. I know times are rough, but
you can do better than this.
Yeah, do better. Yeah. So no, and Jonathan's kind of sad because he's like, yeah, I'm just going to spend Halloween taking my little brother trick or treating. That's my Halloween.
Yeah.
That said, I actually sympathise. I don't like parties either, so I'm with them. Yeah, don't go to the party.
Yeah, and it felt just like any excuse. Like, it's like, I'm not really going to do that. I'm not going to spend a long time doing that, but it'll do as an excuse, so I'll take it, because I've been there.
Yeah. But Nancy's trying to get him back into the world, and there's that longing look after Steve kind of interrupts him. Not in a bad way, but he kind of jumps her and, like, scares her.
Yeah, he's got no reason not to.
And she looks over and he's already like walking. Jonathan's already walking away, and it's like, oh. Do
Yeah.
we get? Does the romance finally blossom this season? I don't know. We'll find out. But that has been episode 1 of Stranger Things season 2. So let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fuzz for channel updates. If you want to support the channel, head over to patreon.com/mailedfuzztv. You can do that over there. But otherwise, that is us. So thank you once again for watching. Keep watching TV. We'll see you next time. Have you got any vanilla?